Do we want just a little bit on the top? Ooh, that's a hot. Very, very nice, and it smells delicious. The prosciutto, you know. I mean, each dish has a strong odor. Like the lentils have the bay leaves, and then there is the complexity of the prosciutto coming here and the cheese. So those two harmonize right into my nostrils and really get my excitement and appetite going. And with this, a nice glass of Pinot Grigio, the same one that I put in. So, as we say at my house, tutti a tavola a mangiare alla valdostana. Cin cin.
I understand that Jack wants to show us his muscles today.
Oh, yes, here it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I got more here. I got the big mussel, the wild one, and I got cultivated mussel.
And we have all kinds of oysters with strange shapes, weirdly colored clams, and shrimp with and without the shell.
This is the shellfish day.
Let's start cooking.
Happy cooking.
Bon appetit. It's wonderful that nowadays we can get raw shellfish all over the country because it's sent by plane and more people are getting interested in it. But you must be very careful where you buy it so that people are really serious about keeping it properly.
Yes, you can even go to a store and they will show you the batch number of their shellfish. This is required by law to show that it has been inspected. Those are great.
One thing, what I always do when I get, say, oysters or clams home, I wash them in cold water. Then as you notice with oysters, you have the curved part of the shell like that, and then you have the lid. And you always want to store them curved shell down.
Right.
So that they sit in their juices. And I scrub them with a brush, and then I arrange them in a bowl, all like that, so that they're sitting down that way. They will keep for several days. I cover them with a damp paper towel and some foil and put them in the fridge.
Right. But you see, when you see one which is open like this one, for example, if you touch the muscle, that little abducting muscle inside like this, or if you bang it on the outside, and if it really doesn't move, this one is really dead.
Throw it out.
Yes. But see, we have another one here which is open.
Yeah.
And if I bang it a little bit, you see the way it closed?
So it's alive.
Yeah. It's just breathing for air, so you know this one is alive. Those are nice, by the way. Those are butter clam, they call them. There are 4 or 5 names for it.
I've never seen those
they are very
before.
inexpensive at the supermarket.
Now let's see you open an oyster.
Let's say this one. I think this is a well flit. I like to open it with this. I mean, I have different knives, but I like this one. What do you like to open your oyster?
Well, I always try with a can opener. If
With a
I
can
can't do
opener.
that, then I use something like that.
So One of the best ways is at the hinge there. You can do them on the side, but you tend to put some shell in it. So here, you have to pry it open. As now I felt it open, so with the side of the knife, I have to cut the abducting muscle on top, you see? And now
look at it. See, this muscle here is what keeps it closed.
so this is really full. And then it's harder to eat this way. So what you want to do is to cut the other part underneath so that it's totally loose. So you're ready to swallow it up.
And you
know?
swallow it up with juices and everything.
Right.
Now, here's another way. If you can pick out your own oysters, pick them out so there's a little gap there in the hinge, then you'll just take a beer can opener.
Do you want a towel? No?
Don't need it with this method.
That's it.
That's open and they'll do the same thing.
Now that it's
But that's
open,
nice. That's nice if you can pick it out yourself.
yeah. Beautiful.
Now, as to clams.
The clam, I think, are much easier to open than the oyster. I put it on the side there, and then with my 2 fingers here and my hand, I kind of pry it into it.
And you did it.
And cut it totally. Then you open it in half. And then with this, you want to cut that part and that part so that they are here. And again, getting it loose.
Now, how are we going to serve this? With a sauce?
Yes, so maybe I'll do a cocktail sauce, the classic cocktail sauce with ketchup, fresh horseradish. And you
And I'll do with a mignonette, which is kind of a vinegar sauce with shallots. Well, we have some chopped shallots already
We have
there.
shallots,
And what kind of a herb?
fresh thyme.
Well, I'll use that.
And I'll crush a little bit of pepper for you. And you hear it crack.
That's rather nice, isn't it?
This is what you do for a steak au pois, you know, crushing it. And that's what we call mignonette. Yes, so I'll give you the mignonette. That much. You
Well, I
want
don't
a
need
little
much
more?
else except vinegar, red wine.
The red wine vinegar. You want a little dash of salt in there too?
Mm-hmm.
Good, that's it. So in mine, which is very classic, I'm going to put some ketchup and some, look at that horseradish, fresh horseradish. You cut a piece of it. This is very strong, you know. If you do that in the food processor or whatever, you cry, you know. So you have to peel it like this. And you use a grater to do that, like a box grater. You just grate it. Some fall inside. The one to stay on the outside, I get it out this way. That doesn't last very long when you do that. But
Or you can buy some already grated
can.
in a bottle. If you buy it, be sure that it's not more than a cream color. Because
when
it
it-
darkens fairly
when
quickly,
it's-
doesn't it?
Yes. Okay, so I think in there I like to put a dash of Tabasco,
8 drops. That's quite a bit, isn't it?
maybe a couple of drop of Leon Perrin sauce.
Worcester
and-
sauce.
Yes, lemon juice. And I'll strain that through my impeccable clean hand. As you say, that's it.
That looks good.
Okay, so we'll mix this. Would you like to eat a clam or an oyster?
I'll have a small clam with that, I think.
A little bit of this, okay. Here you are. And I put a little bit of the shallots here on top. You don't want to put too much of that. This is strong.
Oh, that's very good.
Good. And just swallow it.
That's the nicest way to eat the oyster, I think.
Good.
Now we're going to just discuss shrimp and how to cook it. And when you buy them, these are big shrimp.
Yes, they are under 16, so-called. It means 12, 16 to the pound. They usually tell you it's 26.30 or under 10. The under 10 are less than 10 shrimp, you know, so they're very large, very
these
expensive.
are really expensive.
They are
too.
expensive,
They are.
yes. But they are so good.
I think very often when you buy cooked shrimp, they haven't flavored them and they're very disappointing. So what we're going to do, we're going to cook these shrimp in a cool bouillon. That means a flavored liquid.
Right, so you have...
I have 2 cups of water in
So
here.
you need...
And we need some onions.
Okay.
And this has to cook for 20 minutes. And we're going to put a bay leaf in there.
Fresh thyme.
Fresh thyme.
And then you want some salt.
Yeah.
We have cracked pepper. And then a little piece of lemon.
Go on. That's going to put in a handful of pepper. And how much wine should we put in? About a cup of wine?
Yeah, sounds good to me. We have carrot. Good.
Let's see.
That's a nice color. It comes to a boil, and that would boil for what? A good 10,
About
15 minutes?
10 or 15 minutes.
Yes. And then you may want to cook it with or without the shell. Eh?
Yes, now, what's the theory that it's prettier with the shell off?
Yes, the point is also, you know, when you take the shell off, you can really open it. And as you can see, for example, this one's got the intestinal tract. And the intestinal tract is that long intestine, you know, which is full of very gritty things. Sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't. When you have it, when you cook it with the shell, of course, you have to clean it up after. So there, it's one way, or then you serve them directly at the table unshelled, which is another way.
Which is nicer for the host because he doesn't have to shell them.
Right. It's different for the guest. In any case, here, you can cook them one way or the other. The amount of cooking is going to be about the same.
Then when that's at the boil, put them in.
But I feel that when you shell them, the shell has a lot of taste. Either I keep the shell, I freeze it for another thing, or then I put my shell with the shell shrimp, you know, in it to give taste to the whole thing. Well, we put all of this in.
Right.
Okay. But basically, by the time your vegetable stock has a lot of taste, 10, 15 minutes of cooking, you drop your shrimp in it, you bring it to a strong boil, you cover it, you put it on the side. That's it.
And that's enough. That's all the cooking it needs.
And you let it cool off in the liquid. They pick up taste.
I think that's very important because you've had all this flavor and the shrimp has to sit in it to pick up the flavor, doesn't it?
Absolutely right. So here you can see those have been cooked without the shell, but all of the shell are in there. You want to taste that bouillon? It tastes good now, I think, after. You know, the bouillon, I do a consommé or a soup with it. You know, it's quite nice. Shall we prepare a shrimp cocktail with this one? Okay. This is a beautiful glass.
It's pretty to have them hang, isn't it?
Well, we could do that. You want to put the lettuce right in there like this and
then
put the shrimp around?
Cocktail sauce around it?
Yes, or on the side in a little container like this. What do you
I
think?
think that would be nice. Let's do
All
it that way.
So we'll do it this way. You put shrimp there. I put shrimp there. Maybe we could keep a little space here to have a little
That's
wedge of
1, 2, 3,
lemon.
4. Well, that doesn't make too many shrimp per serving, does it?
Yes, well, so we could also...
This is just one serving, isn't it?
This is one serving, so they are expensive. How many do you want to serve to your guests? Depending how much you like your guests, right? And then we have our cocktail sauce, you know, that we did for the oyster. This would be perfect with that. I love cocktail sauce with that. But you know, at home, what we do also, my wife particularly loves to munch on it and take the shell herself, so we cook it with the shell. You know? And I have some here which are cooked with the shell. And differently than the other one, see the other of the shell, we like to serve it lukewarm, not cold, you know? And we serve it directly on the table, you know, like this, into the hot stock.
That's the lazy cook who doesn't want to peel the shrimp for you.
No, we peel it at the table, and we enjoy
He
it.
doesn't want to peel it for you. But that is really looks very nice there.
Yes, and we put the stock in it. You know, I like to eat it this way with melted butter. So I take a bit of cracked pepper or freshly ground black pepper, and then lemon juice. Put lemon juice in there and the melted butter.
Now, having unpeeled it, what are we going to do with the black vein, Jack?
We eat it.
Because you can eat it pretty well.
It's digested protein anyway. There is nothing really wrong with it. And sometimes, many times, in fact, you find it and there is nothing in it. Now, if you at the table want to remove it, you can still open and see if there is nothing inside. See, this one doesn't seem to have much. Maybe a little bit so. I'm going to taste it this way with the melted butter.
I'll see what's in mine.
I like it lukewarm, you know. So you have some in yours?
Don't seem to have any.
Oh, good.
Maybe it disappears into the...
During the cooking.
There I do.
Now you do. But if you don't do it, maybe you won't even know it.
No, I wouldn't. But I think a lot of people are very fussy. Then how are they going to get the vein out of their fingernails? You always wear a towel.
Yeah, that's why you have rince-doigt at the table, you know?
Yes.
Finger bowl after that. So
Try that with that.
in the melted butter lukewarm. And you can try it with the sauce
That
here.
is very nice with the milk.
It is very
butter.
good, yeah. And especially with the stock here.
That's a nice way of doing it. Kind of messy. But that's okay.
At the table, you know.
Now we're going to do mussels. And mussels now you can find all over the country. They're very perishable, so when you buy them, you should cook them just as soon as possible. We have the two kinds. These are cultivated. And how do they do that, Jack?
They cultivate them on wire now, so they don't touch the bottom. The advantage of it, there is no sand in them, too. They are quite nice. Also very inexpensive, as shellfish goes. Mussels are very inexpensive and very high in protein.
And then these are the wild ones, and these ones that you would catch on the rocks and
Yes.
on the low tide. And these you have to be very careful where you get these to make sure that they are in pure water.
Right. And those have those beard here, you know, that are attached to it. You get that. You want
And
to
you
pull
were
so this,
saying that
you pull this.
they make gloves out of them or something
Oh,
like
in
that?
Greece, they pull this out, and this is protein. It's very, very hard, and they wave a glove out of it, and the glove is given from father to son.
They weave it, yes.
They weave it, yes.
Oh.
The fisherman, a knife doesn't go through those gloves. So I saw that when I was there. It was interesting, you know.
But you want to be sure these have to be soaked in lightly salted water until when you pick them up, there's no sand in the bottom.
Yes.
And they are inclined to be salty, so I think,
To rub them, yes.
yeah.
Rub them nice and clean. You change
have
the
to-
water 3-4 times.
oh, for 5 or 6 even.
Oh, 5-6
Or
times.
anyway.
All right.
Now we're going to cook them.
We're going to do them in a very simple way, cellar style, we call moule marinière, and just with white wine, onion, and so forth. So we'll mix a little bit of both of them. I have about 3 pounds here.
And we cook them until they open.
Yes. So we'll start by putting that in that big thing here.
You put them in, I'll put in the wine.
Okay.
And they're just cooked in wine. Shallots.
You put shallots?
Yeah. We have, there's
Okay.
some chopped shallots in there. And a bay leaf.
I like onion. You like
All right,
belly?
put some onion in too. Except they're not going to cook very long, are they?
Well, they're going to cook a little while. I'll give you a bit.
You're better at swishing them than I
No, I'm not. You're doing very well.
Well, I think you do it better.
Okay.
We want a little butter, John.
Okay, so we have
And we put
butter
the
right
bay
here.
leaf.
That's it. You want some parsley in there?
Why not?
And some, maybe some pepper? White?
We
Dark?
certainly don't want any salt, that's for sure.
Okay.
We'll put in some dark pepper.
Good.
And the thing is that this makes its own lovely sauce.
It has to come to a boil and then it...
That'll take about 5 or 10 minutes.
Yes, you toss them.
So we'll be back. Don't leave us. Now the mussels are done when they open up. And they certainly smell done, don't they? There
Smells
they
delicious.
are, opened up.
So we serve them in the juice like this, like
Yes.
the real
And you can
country
see-
style.
But when you serve them with the shell, just like this.
That's it. With the juice, right?
And then ladle some juice in.
And eat that with a lot of bread. But in Belgium, this is the national dish, and they eat that with French fry. That they call les moules frites, mussel and French fry. And it's really good.
And then you would taste, you would eat the mussels and taste the juice. Mmm. That's delicious.
good.
It's very simple, isn't it? Just wine and flavoring.
But another dish that we used to do when I work at the Pavilion, I don't know if you ever had it at the Pavilion, was a famous soup called the Billy Bee. Apparently, I don't know whether you know whether it's true or not, it was invented by someone in Normandy in France for one of the GI during the Second World War. Have you ever
really?
heard that?
No.
But it's called Billy
I
Bee.
thought it was much earlier than that.
No, so we put here for about 6 people 2 cups of cream directly into your sauce, and that has to come back to a strong boil. Then we strain it, cool
And
it
that's
up, and
your
serve
Billy
it cold.
Bee.
And that's your Billy Bee.
So we'll wait till it comes back to the boil.
Right.
There, that's at the boil, Jack.
Oh boy.
Well, look
Yeah,
at
this is good.
That's a wonderful
It does smell good, huh?
Good.
I think one of the best ways is to put it directly in a big colander like this. That's it. So that I can shake it a little bit if there's any juice in the shell.
No.
Like that, it falls down, you know? Okay. And then I have to restrain it into something finer here.
Well, let's just do that.
And basically, when you do it, if you have a chance of letting it rest for a few minutes, then look at the bottom if there is any sand, you know. Sometimes there is still a bit of sand. See, I see a little bit here. See at the end?
Yes, and look at that. So the thing is to do it very slowly and toss out that sand. Let's see how that tastes now.
Now, that can be served hot, but it was usually served always
That's nice hot.
cold at the pavilion. It is nice hot, too. So
Very
I have
good.
one which is cold, and I think we should have a bit of chives in it. So this is a very rich soup, of course, and you would not serve much more than about 4 ounces, you know,
Yes,
because this is quite rich and delicious
that's very
and
pretty,
elegant,
isn't it?
you know. Yes.
We'll just taste that.
Exactly. It's a different taste than when it's hot, yeah?
It's very nice, isn't
Yes.
it?
So we'll
Sort
put
of
it
a
here.
more elegant version of a Vichy swallow.
Yes, very elegant version. So now, out of this, this is the part where you would want to remove, of course, all of those, because we only use the juice for the bilibi. Look at the size of those, you know? They are
Those are beautiful.
But do you want to use some of those directly on the plate?
Or are we going to put them back into the shell with a ravigotte sauce? What do you think?
Oh, so we could do that. So at that point, we keep half a dozen of nice shell, like
Yeah.
this.
Let's put a little lettuce on
Yeah.
it, you think? Just to make a bed for them.
Okay.
Then I think when we make the sauce, put a little sauce in each one and then the mussel on top, would you say?
Yeah, okay, so we can arrange that here, and then
Yeah.
we'll put the sauce after in it whenever.
We'll make the ravigotte in here.
It's actually beautiful.
We need
so,
a bit of chopped shallots in there.
so what do you want in there?
We
Chopped
need
shallots?
some chopped shallots
Okay.
and a bit of mustard.
So I'll let you.
You
Make the
do
stuff?
the shallot, I'll put
Okay.
a little mustard in. And then we
Very
want a
good.
bit of hard-boiled egg.
Oh, here it is.
I think we have some. Well, that's a nicely hard-boiled egg, isn't
You want,
it?
you want a knife? You want that knife?
Okay.
Okay, so shallot. You have mustard there, shallots,
I do, yes.
pepper. I'm putting black pepper, pickle.
Let's have a little pickle. I think that's delicious.
I love the pickle. Those are not the sweet pickle, by the way. Those would be like your gherkin. Here we are here. So this is a kind of sauce that you can use with a poached fish. It's great. You can use that with our mussel here. You can do a salad with it. Some parsley in there.
Oh,
that
that's
would work
very
well with
nice.
it. Yes. You
What
want
else now, do you
what type
think?
of oil do you want in there?
Some excellent olive oil.
Okay.
Because I like it. This is a very light olive oil.
Yes. How about some vinegar?
Yes. A bit of fresh lemon. A little.
Here we have the lemon. And this is white wine vinegar, right?
Mm-hmm. How was that? Pretty good?
Yeah.
Ravigotte.
Have you got? Yes. I'll give you back your mussel if you want to put.
I'll put a little bit.
So you put some in there, and I'll put one mussel in each.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If they are small, you can put several mussel in it. Shall we put some on top too?
Yes.
And back on top. That's good. And this
This
is,
is very nice.
and with mussel, of course, you need a nice
A nice white wine.
white wine. And you know what you need too? French
Right.
bread.
Yeah.
To dip it in the juice, you know. So that's
Just
what we're going to
Tear it
do.
apart, you think?
We're going to tear it apart. We're going to eat our mussel. We're going to drink our wine, and we're going to toast you.
I'm going to say, bon appetit.
And happy cooking.
Good good to be cooking with you, Jack.
Sure is.
Okay.
A presentation of KQED San Francisco.
That's a beautiful color, Jack, and the skin looks crisp, but not too much so.
Yes, and it smells real good, just out of the oven.
And I notice as you're carving the white meat that it all stays together.
Yes, yes, you know, when the chicken has been frozen, sometimes it tends to break apart, but this was a nice, fresh chicken.
That looks good, and it smells so delicious.
I agree with you.
Tender and perfect.
Yes. I can't wait to eat it.
A well-roasted chicken is the sign of a really fine cook.
Even among professionals.
That's true.
Here, taste it.
That looks awfully good. We're going to show you how to do it today. Good.
Happy cooking.
Bon appetit. We're going to do whole chicken today. We're going to do one whole roast chicken 2 ways, and then we're going to do another one that's butterfly. And Jack
You're
going to prepare a little stuffing.
I'm doing a little stuffing just under the skin, so I'm very simple. I'm putting some shallots here. Do you want to help me cut some shallots?
Sure.
And some herbs, so just to stuff it under the skin, and of course you don't have to do that. On the other hand, you can vary it. You can have chopped mushroom. It flavors the meat, you know?
Yeah.
It's a bit more elegant. I think that'd be plenty here. I have about a good half a cup of shallots. We are going to put some savory with it. It's part of the herbe de Provence, the savory, you know?
It has a very aromatic
Yes, I'm going to
flavor.
put
You don't want too much, do you?
about a tablespoon of the fresh one. And I'll add some parsley. You know, I have the flat parsley here.
The flat has a little more flavor, but it's not as pretty as for the decoration,
It's
is it?
different, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
some swear by one or the other. Are you going to stuff yours with anything?
Well, I'm going to have to put mine a little lemon in it. On the whole, it's going to be rather pristine.
Oh, good. So I put a little bit of ground pepper in it, a dash of salt. I don't really want to cook it long, you know, frankly. I just want to soften the shallot, you know, so
I
that I
think
can...
notice the way he has the handle for frying pan. He's jerking it. He's not doing this. He's jerking it, and it turns over
there is
beautifully.
a sway there, so there is a kind of elliptical motion, you know, with this. And that's about it. I'm going to put it on that plate here so that it cool off a little bit so I can stuff my chicken with it, other flavoring. So I let it cool off. And while this is cooling off,
I'll do my chicken.
we're going to work on your chicken. Good.
I'm going to make mine very simple. And we have to remember salmonella, etc. So when you're going to prepare any kind of raw chicken, you want to be sure it's on a surface that you're going to thoroughly wash with soap and water. When you're through, you have to make sure that all of your instruments are going to wash also.
Yes.
And I've also washed this chicken. I have washed it with hot water. And if we take in
I don't wash my chicken.
and he doesn't wash his. I think in France, they're not as worried about things as we are they?
Well, I live in Connecticut, pretty far from France.
That's
you know.
right.
But what happened is that I feel it's going to go in a 425 degree oven for like an hour or so, and at that point, if the bacteria are still living, they deserve to live, you know?
I'm taking out the wishbone.
The wishbone, okay.
So that it makes the breast easier to carve. If you have any children who like wishbones, too bad for them, I guess, or take more time getting it out. I think it makes the breast much easier to carve.
That's it. Good. So those chicken are about close to 4 pounds, huh?
Yes, they are.
You want to leave the fat in it or take it out?
I'll take it out. When you stuff your chicken, you could use some of that under the skin, couldn't you?
The 2 lumps of fat like this. Well, sometimes I use it in pate, you know?
I want to put a little salt and pepper in mine. And I've got some fresh sage. I'm going to put that in.
Good.
And a bit of lemon. The idea of lemon, I think that came to me through Marcella Hazan, the Italian cook.
She put lemon in it.
She puts lemon in it.
I'll cut some slice for you if you want.
That'll be fine. And then squeeze it a little bit.
And you put that
I'm
inside?
just going to put that inside. Then I'm going to get these nubbins off.
That's the classic way.
Wings akimbo.
That's it.
That goes underneath there. And then I'm going to give it a butter massage.
Oh, ho.
This is very good for it. Makes it feel...
Very, very good for the skin.
It makes it feel as though you're really paying attention to it.
Yeah. And you are
Comforting.
paying real attention to it. Good.
And now a little salt all over it. Then I just want to tie those legs together.
Yeah. That's it, just like this, that's it.
Yeah, as long as that'll really hold.
That's it.
I have a rack here. These, I think, are available in most places, aren't
Yeah,
they?
those are nice because it gives you a nice heat transfer of heat from the side to all over, so it brown on each side. That's a nice way of kind of self-basting
And then another thing is I'm going to put this in shallow pan. With this kind of thing, because it's not going to turn, I don't think you want to use high sides like that, because the bottom and the sides won't brown.
Yes, that's a good point.
And that's just going to go and sit in the roasting pan. Jack, I forgot I'm going to put a little bit of lemon juice on.
Oh, lemon juice on top of it, good.
I think that helps it brown, too.
I still have my chicken to do, right? Here we are, and it's about the same weight. I'm removing the fat also. And I also going to remove the wishbone, that triangular piece right here. Sometimes the skin of the neck is too much. And that triangle here, I'm doing just as you did, cutting on one side, cutting on the other side, then after prying it out, you know. This one is broken. I can feel it now, it's broken right in the center. I have one piece on this side, one piece on the other side, and you have to be careful because when it's broken like that, the end is pointed. You know, the end is very pointed and you can puncture your finger. If it's not broken, if it's a try, you can pry it out like that and down. But again, here it really helps in the carving. On mine here, I'm going to cut the wing. So here, I want to bring this together, and for me, I'm going to stuff it a little bit under the skin. One of the best way maybe is to get a bowl, something like that I can sit the chicken in, so that I can actually, underneath here, you know, put my stuffing, mostly under the breast. First, what I should have done is really run my finger here.
It's very easy to do, isn't it? Because it just works that way.
It just works. Get it loose like that. There is a little bit of fiber, but as you can see, I can really put my hand all around the breast.
It looks so funny seeing the hand go right through there, doesn't it?
We put it there this way, and now I can stuff it in there with this. You're going to keep it open for me like this?
I will.
So I actually just...
Then that will be between the skin and the flesh.
Between the skin and the flesh,
It smells good. The shallot is so nice with it.
if I cook a chicken often at home, I may not do it. If I have a guest coming, then you want to make it a bit fancier, and that's one way of doing it, and make it a little bit different. Okay, not too messy this way. Then I get it out again. Bring the skin on the back, you know, so that to keep that stuffing in, and kind of massage the stuffing a little bit, you know, bring it down on the breast like this. Bring my leg together, and I like when I truss it to start this way, you know.
Start backwards.
Yes. It's a nice way of trussing it.
No, and
the
you
trussing
say
is
that
really...
in this truss you can turn the chicken. You don't need to worry about
Right.
the truss coming off. So
And what you
watch
don't
very
want, there is many
carefully.
trussing where they put the string on top of the breast. It should not be on top of the breast. So
Because
I go
it'll show.
underneath. I bring the leg here. Now, all you go underneath, you do this. So you cross it above, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go under the drumstick to do like
that
an
really
eight,
holds
an
it,
eight figure.
yes.
And then you can close it.
That's
And
very
then you
good.
bring it around and just attach it. In that case here, what happened, I cut the wing, remember? Otherwise I can anchor
yes.
it behind the wing, but there I anchor it behind the neck because I remove the wing.
That's what you need, isn't it?
Yes,
It's an anchor.
and like that keep the skin together also there, you know?
That's wonderful. Those are the secret, I think, of having those anchor places
Yeah.
there and there.
So at that point, you see, it is nice because the breast is up and it's secure in place. I can move it around.
Une
So what
belle poitrine.
Une belle poitrine. So I'm going to put a bit of salt for me, here, there, and that's it. I don't put anything else on top.
Good.
I know you. Or since I'm putting it directly on the tray, I may put like a half a teaspoon of butter just there because I want to start it on the side, you know? Brown it on the side, turn it on the other side, and eventually finish on the back. Okay, so let's put it in the oven. Good. And that should cook about 425 degrees for like 15 minutes, then we reduce the heat.
And then finish it off at 350, and it'll take, because my chicken was almost 4 pounds, that'll take almost 2 hours.
Yes.
And with 2 chickens in the oven, that
Yeah.
takes even a little bit longer.
So, shall we start on the other chicken?
All right.
Okay. So here we're going to do a larger chicken, even. I mean, this is a
This is
roaster,
a
right?
almost a 5-pounder.
This is, yeah, I think it's like 5.5 pounds, actually. You know,
And
so
what
it's
we're
pretty...
going to do this, we're going to butterfly it and broil roast it, because this would take about 2.5 hours roasted, and if you butterfly, it takes half the time.
Yes.
So first you're going to take out the backbone.
Yes, I'm going to take the wishbone also
Yeah.
on that one. Yeah. And I'll see if this one is broken. See, I cut on each side. No, it's not broken, so I can really pry out with my thumb and then put my thumb in the back of it and break it up.
And you have the whole thing. Good.
See, this is that piece here, which is actually, as I say, really in the way when you carve. So, we're going to remove, I remove the end of it here. All that we keep for our stock, of course, which is good. And I'm going to cut also the end of the drumstick here. So this way.
Is that for better presentation?
Yes, it has, I think, a better presentation this way. What happened here, the chicken will shrink a little bit, you know, as it cooked and make like a little ham. Mm-hmm. And what we want to remove now is the strip of bone in the back. So
that will give you plenty of room to make a nice sauce.
yes,
With a big, heavy knife, you can have your supermarket do this for you. They can just take the bone out with their big buzz saw.
exactly, yes. Or you can use...
But it's useful to learn how to do it yourself, I
Sure.
think. And cutting it very close to the bones, you don't lose any
Yeah,
meat.
you don't... And that you use for stock anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point here, we cut it a little bit the bone here so we can spread it out good. Another
That's a good idea, cutting it that way.
Yeah, and another thing I like to do here, you see the leg here? I want to cut, you can see here, this is the drum. You know, the drumstick and the thigh. This is the place where it never really get cooked enough, so I cut it up and
That's a
little
good
bit
idea.
here.
Yes,
just in the joint here, a little bit like this, so the heat start there.
that's
you
a
know?
good idea.
And I do actually the same thing here. cutting a little bit of the joint here and of the joint.
And it makes carving
Here.
easier, too.
Yes.
That's a very good idea.
So, what we do now, pre-cook it a little bit, right?
Well, what I like to do is to season and butter that and brown this side under the broiler,
Under
and
the
then
broiler.
turn it over and finish it roasting.
Okay,
so it's
so
a broiled roast.
We did exactly that because I knew you wanted to do that. So we have one which said 10 minutes under the broiler this way.
Well, are you going to put a spice rub on
And then
it
I'm going to do a spice rub on
afterwards?
top.
I see.
Yes. Yes.
No, we have one that's already browned.
So this is exactly the same. It has been 10 minutes under the broiler. So it's basically a roll, but
It's just because it's going to roast on the other side, on the
yes.
skin side.
And I like to use one of those little coffee grinder, you know, a spice grinder. This is mustard seed, you know. Mustard seed, I'm putting a little bit of caraway seed, some herbe de Provence.
That dry herb mixture, what does that
Yes.
have? Rosemary and thyme.
Exactly. And a bit of paprika. A little dash of cayenne. That's it. This is black pepper. And I'll put my salt in there. I may as well put all the seasoning that I need. And this is great. I mean, that little machine does the whole thing in seconds, you know? So we have to
I'm going to
sprinkle.
move away all that pepper I can hear.
Yeah, the cayenne, you know? So
Yeah.
we put a little bit on this side. Ooh, I can feel it too. Then, as you can see, it's still raw, you know? You can, of course, do it without any of the seasoning, yeah? And now it's going to go in the oven. I put the butterfly chicken in the other oven. Now I'm going to check the first one. Look at that here. As you can see, oh, yours is beautiful. Now mine here has brown on one side, and as you can see, you know, it's beautifully brown. And with the stuffing here, now I put it on the other side. I like to cook it on one side, the other side, and only the 10 minutes on the back, you know, so that the juice stay in the breast. And now, of course, it was at 425. I'm going to reduce the temperature to about 350, 375.
Now, to look at these two, this is the one that really wasn't trussed at all. The legs have come apart and it doesn't look very elegant.
No, I think it looked great. You see,
Yes.
if I press in it like that, I don't know if the camera can, and if you press and you see the juice,
We
it
want
should
to
be
show-
nice and clear.
We want to show how do we know that the chicken is done?
Yes, when it's nice and clear this way, or also even when you pour the juice out of it and the juice is clear, you don't have any blood in it.
Yes, if it's rosy, it just isn't done.
It needs a little more,
And
yes.
also, I think you feel the legs.
Yes, the leg here.
Well,
Well,
but
first
you're
I'm
right.
going to remove this one here, to remove that rack.
Then if you sit it in a plate and there's some rosy juices that fall in the plate, it's definitely not quite done.
Uh-huh.
So you're going to carve that one.
Yes, so what I'm going to do is to put this one there and maybe start to carve it and start the juice.
And we have this
We have
lovely
beautiful
juice going to make
dripping
a
here.
great sauce.
What we want to do to start with is to remove as much fat as we can from the top here, just to keep the clear fat and keep just the natural juice underneath. I know when I was an apprentice and even at home, in France we use the chicken fat to saute potato or other type of thing, the clear
Well,
fat like that. because
sensible
this is
people
really-
here do the same
Yeah.
thing. It's not only the French who are clever.
I know. See, that's right. See, I do that now. Now here, the beautiful crystallization of the juice, which is a glass here. You want to deglaze that with a bit of vermouth?
I think very often white wine is a little acid. We can put in more if we want.
You want a bit of chicken stock too?
So we put a tiny bit of that in. And all these brown bits, that's where the wonderful flavor is.
But we want to have all of that melting, right?
Yes, and I think we'll put in a little bit of
Shallot?
too.
So while this is cooking, you look at that. Shall I carve the chicken during that time?
Yes, let's.
Okay. First, don't forget to remove the string. And in that case here,
No, that, I
Okay,
think
this
that's
way.
a definite indication that there's no pink in there.
yes. And this, at that point
this
here,
out of the
I would
way.
probably cut, there is a joint here, I cut in the joint, cut a piece of the breast and lift up that piece of the breast directly off here.
There's a warm platter.
Good. This side. Again, you cut the breast and break it open at the joint and pull it. Remove it. I can see now, you can see here all of the stuffing that I had in my chicken. I will again cut at the joint to remove the other breast, or part of the breast. Here it is. And then now we have the whole front here. I actually love the bone, you know. If I have a choice, I'll eat the bone, you know, with a salad. What I want to do here is to take the brochet, that is the white, all the white part out of it. I just hold it with my knife and pull it out. That's also an indication if the chicken is really good, it's gonna slide out of here. Okay, and then you can pull this out. Basically, all you have here is your carcass, you know. What we are going to do is to serve that roast chicken, and maybe we'll arrange the salad. We have some beautiful lettuce leaf here.
Now, Jack, I'm going to show you the juices.
The juice, we have beautiful juice here. And we want to do a little bit of vinaigrette, you know. I want to use a little bit of the fat of the chicken with the vinaigrette. So here we are, just plain beautiful Boston lettuce for the vinaigrette, the garlic, salt, pepper, you know. I have a little bit of, you want to give me a little bit of vinegar?
There's a little vinegar.
Okay, this is a red wine vinegar, a little bit of mustard, and I put the fat, you know, that I have from the chicken again from the top, a little bit of that and a little bit of the olive oil. That bring all those tastes together, you know.
Well, that should be very nice. I think putting a little of the meat juice in is a very good idea.
Yeah, and we sprinkle some of the juice on top, you know. So, the two breasts.
That looks very nice.
And the large breast extra there.
You could serve 6 people with this.
You could serve 6 people with that on a large chicken like this one.
4, yes.
I would frankly finish outside on my salad. I should have maybe put it before I put my chicken
No,
on
I think I
top.
like it that way. I think that's very nice.
And certainly a little bit of that juice sprinkled on top. And I mean, look at dark and beautiful juice. You think it's eatable?
I would think so. I could eat all of it right now.
Okay. And now we have that other one here. And shall I cut that one?
That in there.
This one is darker, you know, in color. It's really a large chicken. I mean, look at the size of that chicken. It's very thick. So you can probably carve, you know, pieces of breast like this. I have really large pieces of breast because this is the mother of all chicken, right? I would probably cut also that thigh in 2 because it is pretty large, you know. That chicken would serve easy 8 people. You know,
at least
I think
8 to 10.
So maybe I'll
Just put it all on. That's a good
transfer
idea.
it
Yeah.
here like this. We are going to serve some watercress with that, right? Would go very well with it. You have a bunch of watercress. I love the watercress also when you have some of the juice on top of it.
And I really think just the natural juices enhanced a little bit the way you did it. They're just delicious because it's pure chicken. And when you've got a lovely chicken like this, I don't really like it mucked up with a lot of sauce and stuff. Just that makes for perfect roast chicken, and I think it's not difficult if you just pay attention to it and make sure that you get a good chicken and make sure that you haven't over or undercooked it, and then carve it with style.
Yes.
And I think we shall say, bon appetit.
And happy cooking.
A presentation of KQED San Francisco.
going to do souffles. And as everyone knows, the heart of the good souffle is...
Egg white, beaten egg white. And I'm going to do mine in copper. I beat it faster than the machine.
Well, we're going to see if you're faster than the machine.
All right.
Joe, okay. Well,
Wow.
counted. 1,
Yes.
2, 3, go!
Happy cooking.
Bon appetit. Now, who won that contest between the man and the machine? We both did,
Yes.
except I thought mine were better.
Yeah, mine was faster and actually better.
Well, anyway, now what we're going
Any
to do,
case.
we're going to start with cheese souffle, and the souffle is just a thick sauce into which egg whites are folded, and it's the egg whites that expand as they're heated, and that makes the souffle rise. You're going to start with the bechamel.
With the bechamel. And I have 3 tablespoons of butter here, and I put 4 tablespoons of flour. So at the base, which we call a roux blanc. Okay. And the roux, of course, on top of the roux that you cook a few seconds, I have a cup and a half of milk, which I'm going to add directly.
How long do you think that the roux has to cook?
Well, I don't cook the roux more than like 10-15 seconds.
Some people say that then the flour is still raw.
No, I don't believe that.
You don't believe
no,
that?
I don't believe that.
I
because
do.
You do.
Yes.
But you know, think of a crème pâtissière. Crème pâtissière, you beat egg yolk, sugar, you put flour in it, you put your boiling milk, put it back, bring it to a boil and take it out.
And it always tastes floury.
It never tastes flour, it's a crème pâtissière. All right,
Okay.
so this has to come to a boil. What I like to put in mine, I put a little bit of nutmeg.
That's sort of a pinch, isn't
Yes, and a dash of salt. And the base here, as you can see on the outside here, is starting getting thick. As soon as it comes to a boil, it's about ready. And the bechamel is the proportion here of almost 3 tablespoons of flour per cup of liquid, so it's pretty thick.
A thick white sauce,
Yes,
beautifully made.
and we're going to do cheese in it. Cheddar cheese.
Good.
See how it gets thick now?
It has to be thick so it'll...
Yes, to hold the thing
Hold
together.
everything.
Actually, we're going to put the egg yolk. It's going to thicken it even further.
Now we're going to
Okay.
do the egg whites separately.
Yes. So you break your egg like this, and you separate the white from the yolk, right?
Yeah. And with impeccably clean fingers.
That reminds me when I was an apprentice too. We had to clean up the
And then we're
inside of
going to
the
do,
shell.
as you usually do, oh, you can break a few of these eggs too, Jack.
That's right. So here is what I do. I put them directly in there, and then I remove the yolk. I need that
All the
white.
yolks together.
Here. No, I need the yolk in there. So, in. Okay, we have 3, of course.
Now,
we have-
supposing you have broken the yolk, and there's some of the yolk in there, that's why I was doing them separately.
Well, I am.
Because you never break them.
I am
All right.
confident.
Okay.
You do have to remove all of the white, you know, and there is a
Yeah.
little white thing on each side, which is called the chalaza of the eggs, which actually the sinew,
Yeah.
which hold the yolk in suspension here in the center of the shell.
Yes, you can see that very
Yeah.
easily.
So that should be removed too.
But now, supposing there's a speck of which you're so good at you never
There
break
isn't
them.
any, yeah.
Well,
You know what happened? When people separate
Okay.
the eggs with the shell, I bet you they lose almost each time about a third of the egg white. So I'm doing about 5 egg white here. What I want to do is to start it very fast first. And I do that to break the egg white so that it's liquid.
I think
If
that's
go-
a very good idea.
Yeah, because if you go slowly, it's like a wet mop which goes around and it does. So now I start slowly. And you can hear the egg white falling on itself. And the reason is that I try not to touch the board. There's no way you could go as fast as a machine. Okay, so it's halfway done.
Yes, it is. It's going very quickly.
Yeah, and then you can change hand if you get tired. Well, I think we can put the egg yolk in your bechamel if you want. You have 4 egg yolk there. Basically, I want that type of texture, you know. And now, you see, while Julia is finishing her stuff, I stir gently in my egg, because if I don't do anything, they start breaking down very fast. So you want a little bit of the white? I'll give you a little bit of this first, if you mix it with your whisk.
Okay.
Okay. That's good. Mixing it with the whisk, that lightens the whole mixture. And now you put it back in there.
All right.
That's it. And then you're going to add some cheese,
I don't
right?
like it all at once, actually, but then I
Ah.
like to put
A little bit
some
at a
of the
time?
cheese.
Okay, so I start folding and you can add cheese, that's right.
Yes, it's much better doing it with 2 people, isn't it?
Beautiful mixture.
That looks
See,
lovely.
the eggs are not grainy here, and that's the proper texture.
Now, if you find, say, in a machine, if you've beaten them too much and they've gone grainy, that I found if you put another raw egg
It helps.
yolk
That's
in
true.
it,
That's true.
you don't have to throw them all out.
Now what happens, you can put that in your mold ready to go into the oven and you can keep it for 45 minutes. But you cannot beat your egg white, leave them by themselves without anything, unless you put sugar in it to stabilize them to do a meringue. So here, you're putting a color on yours.
What I'm gonna put?
You're putting a color on yours? I never
Yes.
put color on my souffle, but...
Well, then yours don't rise high enough.
Oh, that's true. You want me to butter that for you?
It's buttered now. We need a little.
No, this
We're
is
gonna
not
put a little
butter.
cheese in it,
All right.
and we need to butter that too.
Okay. The cheese is right there. You want
Yeah.
Parmesan cheese, right?
I don't care either one.
Okay, this is butter too.
This is the reason for putting cheese or breadcrumb around the sides, is so that it won't stick to the sides. It'll rise
And you give
up.
a nice crusty,
Yeah.
give a nice crusty side to it.
Okay.
See,
now
that's very nice. No, okay. So we put this first or the color first?
put
This
that first.
Yeah. All right. And how do you attach this? Ah,
And
a
have
little
the
bit
head
sewing.
of the pin down for easy removal. Well, that's gonna go out.
Good. Should I put a bit more on top now?
I would think so. We want it to rise over the.
Wow, this is a big souffle. Okay, I have all of it in there. Beautiful.
No, it immediately goes into the oven.
This is going to take like 45 minutes. 350 degree I put, right? Okay, I'm finishing my bechamel I did before. Now I put my egg yolk in it. Beautiful color. Okay, so I put my yolk in it. It thickened a little bit.
Yep.
Now I'm going to do the base of the souffle with scallop, you know? We're going to do a scallop base here. And those scallop, I have a pound of scallop almost here, like 3/4 of a pound. I just have a little bit of butter and oil, some shallot.
And they cook
Some
very
chive.
quickly.
So, I have beaten my egg in the same way, but we did it in the machine this time. And I put a little bit of there.
It's
Here.
always very important of lightening it up.
Julie, I think that I may put that back into the big bowl there.
Okay. Yes, that would be easier.
Okay. Do you want to put the cheese for me, just
Okay.
like you did on the other?
All right. This is weirdy cheese. What kind is it?
This is an English cheddar.
They always do things in strange ways, don't they?
You think so? A little more. You like it?
No,
You don't like it?
I like ours better. No.
So you think we should...
I think it'll be all right in the souffle.
Okay. So the mixture here.
Looks nice. The color is very pretty, I think.
You're gonna put that right on top.
Then does it get anything on top of it?
On top of it, I think that I'm going to put some breadcrumb. I like to put some breadcrumb on top of it.
There you are.
Maybe I can even mark this.
Oh, yes, that'll be nice.
And mark it a certain way, just the side. Just like this.
Oh, that's very chic.
Oh. Okay, a little bit of breadcrumb on top. And I'll put a little piece of the cheese on top, yes. I know you love it.
Well, it's pretty.
And then you can, of course, you can do that with any type of cheese. Shall we put that in the oven and see how the other one is doing?
Look at our other one. Look at that too, and that's coming up nicely.
Wow, look at that one. So I'll put this one next to it. It's going
Yes.
to cook a bit faster because it's flatter.
I wonder how nearly done is that, do we think?
I think it takes another 10-15 minutes, in my opinion. The souffle is in the oven now, and remember, you wait for the souffle. The souffle doesn't wait for you, so when it's ready, you gotta sit down and
Eat it.